I I just wonder like how true that is, because like I just don't know. Like I'm the more I have like I've been in when I was at Brooks, I would see like the old like Tinker sketches of like Jordan 11s and 12s and all that
Yeah.
stuff um and I feel like I have to say this. I'm not trying to provoke any Nike people. Like not provoking, okay? I'm not touching the Tinker lordship, but what I am trying to say is like, okay, welcome everyone to Tech Packs Are Due podcast, all about footwear, the official place. I'm trying to say this, the official place for footwear design, footwear designers to come and talk about footwear, about design, and just in general, geek out about shoes, as we are all shoe people and sneaker people. And it's our job. It's our professional. It's what we do. So it's just fun to have a place where we can come and talk about it and hopefully inspire others outside of footwear, inside of footwear, just whatever creativity, just drive creativity and us trying to be the best creators we can be. So this episode, we are episode 9. I am almost done counting, but I think I'm going to try to remember it as long as I can remember it. But single
The
digits is
last of the
easy.
single digits. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Single digits. Okay, so we have today like kind of a special guest, kind of a unique guest in my mind. Unique as in like not Colin who sits outside looking in, but who kind of paved his own path. And shoot, I should have asked him this in post before we started, but I don't even know how to say your last name.
Hintze. Hintze. I should have just let
Hintze.
you
Darn.
test it out.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're with Doug. I think someone called you Dougie Fresh one time, and so like in my mind, that's who you are.
I'll
So,
take that.
yeah.
Um
So
I've
yeah,
got a
just
hat. I've
oh,
got a
sorry. Go
hat
ahead.
that says Dougie Fresh. So
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, so anyway, we have Doug here, and he's gonna take us through some awesome stuff. We're gonna talk about, um, well, the main thing is like how is it to be his own boss and have his own footwear brand he started landed. I'm sure you guys have seen it around. If you're in footwear, you know when footwear brands pop up. So it's just fun to be around like an owner. It's kind of cool. So but first though, I think it's just cool, we should talk about Doug and his background and who he is, what makes him tick. And then I think Doug, once we get to a certain point, I think you just like take us into why you're doing shoes and how you got to this point. But yeah, just go, just take it away. Tell us who you
oh
are.
man. The history of Doug and shoes. It's a long, beautiful, treacherous path. But no, yeah. Once for I guess to start, and thank you for having me on. I'm
Yeah,
super stoked. I'm a listener. So it's
sweet.
fun to I guess I'll still get to listen to you while we talk as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I've always had like a weird thing for shoes. But the way I say it is that it's like easier for me to remember what shoes someone was wearing than their name or a
Mm.
face or something like that. So I've always just had a thing for shoes. Unlike you, the last art class I took was in the 8th grade. Um, so I took art then, and it was like, okay, that was the end of my art career. Um,
Why is
my
that?
dad,
What?
like my dad is a man of in the finance world.
Mm.
My brother's a lawyer. Like I thought, I don't know. I didn't really. It was just kind of like there wasn't like a known route to continue in art or for any reason. But I loved sports growing up, so that was kind of where like um, each sport has its own lane for like excellent shoes to geek out on.
Yep.
For me, it started with like Nike ID, just like playing around with colors on their website. Or when I was in, I think junior high or maybe high school, you could like Reebok had something similar.
Yep.
I never pulled the trigger on anything, but just like daydreaming about my own custom kicks. The first shoes that I ever made were some moccasins from Ace Hardware in like the Scout section.
Oh, sweet.
So that was where the shoe making started. So fun fact there. But yeah, I honestly, yeah, I didn't know anything about design. I actually, like you, I went to BYU for a couple of years. I was in like the pre-business route. And I really, so I wanted to work in the outdoor industry, just on like in an outdoor products company. Because I felt like with Patagonia, like Cotopaxi had launched, all of these companies that had like extra purpose. So I was like, I don't even, it took me a while to like figure out what I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, well, it would be cool to work for a company that has a cool purpose tied behind it. And I was actually working in the career center. And I was seeing most people with my route were just like going into sales. And it wasn't like something that got me super excited. And it was actually, I was retaking a finance test to submit to get into the business school. And my buddy was like, you should check out this program at Utah State University. It's called Outdoor Product Design and Development. Maybe you'd like really be into it.
Right.
I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I didn't know like industrial design was a thing. I had never heard of the program at BYU. I was like in the process of like getting into this at Utah State and transferring, and all these people were like, what are you doing? What's up? Like, why are you transferring? And then finally, as I was like, I had committed to transferring, and someone was like, you should check out industrial design at BYU. And I was like, oh, well, too late for that.
Dang.
As I was like in the process of figuring it out, Chase Anderson, he's had like a million roles at Utah State, but he at that point he was like, now he's the program coordinator. I'm not sure what his role was then, but he's kind of like the industry liaison for that program at Utah State, and like getting students in the face of the outdoor brands.
Right.
And I've like referenced this many times. I went back to it, and my message, frankly, was like, Chase, do people get jobs designing things? It was, luckily they do, sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I made the jump over to Utah State. At that point, I was just like, I want to design stuff. It was kind of like the shoe dream or the shoe love was always there, but that like hadn't like clicked yet that could still be a path.
Right.
But luckily, ultra running was still in Logan before they had been bought out by VF or sold. And so Steven Shorten was teaching a footwear design class. And I took that. It cemented the love of shoes and the love of designing. And from there I was like, okay, this is the only route for me. Designing, building shoes. I had, you could probably ask anyone that has worked with me. Like I did a design internship at Climate. It's an outdoor products company.
Yep.
But I would just always talk about shoes. I was at Browning, and they had some shoes. But I was just doing like hats, backpacks, stuff like that. And I was just always like pleading them to let me design shoes.
Right.
But my first footwear design internship was with a company called Kuru Footwear in Salt Lake City. Super niche, like quirky brand.
Right.
But I got to work with like some awesome people. Downey Van Buren, he's at Brooks.
Yep.
He was a footwear developer. and Cameron Braithwaite. He was like a part-time designer there, and
Oh
he had
yeah.
been at Brooks, and I believe Nike and Adidas for like a stint or something like
Yeah.
that. But he like the program at Utah State was so like new and like figuring itself out that like he was really the first person that like taught me how to sketch. Um, so I don't know. That was it was like the quirkiest, like smallest brand that was like focused on giving people with plantar fasciitis like a great heel experience.
Yeah.
Um, but it was an awesome place for me to just learn everything like sketching shoes. Cameron's like all in on marker rendering, so I
Yeah.
felt like I got the like old school touch as like people were going digital, so that I still had like a taste of what it once was,
Right.
before it got too much into like Procreate.
Right.
But
Um yeah, shout out to the to those who are hanging on to the marker
yeah,
renderings. There's still a couple out there, I think. Man, that's an awesome education. I think not I think it goes to like show that, at least I think in my experience too, that um I feel like you learn the most once you get out of school a little bit.
for sure.
Like when you meet these people, yeah, I heard that. See, these are all people, like with the exception of Downing. Like I know who Downing is, and he's awesome. But
Yeah,
these are all people that I've heard their names. I've never like in and a couple of us we've like Steven, I've talked to him like on like LinkedIn and stuff. I've never
yeah,
done like face to face like talking to these people, like, so it's just like the footwear world's so small, like um but man, so many things. I almost like, I don't know if this is something to drill down on, but I'm kind of interested in like that moccasin from the little moccasin pack, like what makes you like, you like gravitate to that, you know what I'm saying, like
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Honestly, yeah, I don't know. That was like I just like loved I loved like thinking about like my own shoe designs as I was like messing around on these websites.
yeah,
I think that like the moccasin came beforehand. Like I want to say that was a junior high thing, and then like Nike ID was high school.
right,
But yeah, it was just like, oh, this is a cool kit. I love shoes. I actually, I was gonna say my my first like shoe memory was I was in elementary school and I bought something off the East Bay catalog. But it was like online officially.
yeah,
And my dad was like, how do you buy shoes online? You know? I
right,
can still remember that. I was in third grade. The shoes came and they were awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, just like little like inklings of like shoe moments throughout life, you know?
Yeah, it's that's funny. Like, it is interesting too, because like I had the East Bay experience too, where like I was very much like once I saw my friend have one. He was playing basketball in high school, and he, like, I don't know, somehow he had this magazine showing up. I was like, man, how do I even get this to come to my house? Like, I need this so bad. Like,
Yeah.
I need this in my house. Like, just so I can even look at the shoes. And so I don't remember how that even picked up, but eventually, like, we had bought something like shorts or something, or we did buy the strength shoe, like me and my brother, like, and the one with
Oh
like the
yeah.
platform. Like,
With oh yeah, like the it was so it's for strength. I always thought it was for like jumping or something
it
weird.
is for
But
jumping, but like it's called
okay.
the strength shoe. I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
for
but yeah,
sure. I
you
think
could,
anyone that's ever like received that catalog has maybe like daydreamed about wearing that.
yeah. And we you could find us after school running around in those in our church gym, just, I don't know. We claim it did something, but who knows? It was just fun to, like, we were that committed. But yeah, no, and then man, talking about getting into, like, it seems like so small, but you once you like crack into like kind of like break through that window, like even at a small footwear company.
Yeah.
Like it's funny to me, like even when you're saying that, how many people like Cameron has like a long history. Like he's like
Yeah.
he's not a small reputation designer, but it's
No.
like we realize that like there's not a ton of footwear jobs, and so like if you're gonna bust in and like if someone's designing footwear, like a lot of people are looking at it. Like I even applied to like Bass Pro Shop once because I'm
Yeah.
like if there's shoes, like I want to design them. Like I want to be a part of
For
it.
sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, yeah. Talk about that. Like, um, market rendering. I guess skill wise, like, did you find yourself waning? Did you like? What was like? Is there any big learnings there with Cameron with that team? I mean, just starting up.
Yeah. The I mean, for me, I was like, once we had the class with Steve, um, at Utah State, the Ultra Footwear sponsored class, I was like, okay, I'm like gonna teach myself how to draw shoes. I'm just gonna like commit to the grind. Like I feel like Instagram was really popping off with like people sharing their designs and stuff. So then going in with Cameron, and he was like, "All right, dude, like let's start over." It was like his at the start, because he was like just like a contract designer. He was part time there at Kuru, and he was working for other companies at the same time.
Right.
So I would say like my first month there, I was more like hanging out with Downing, understanding tech packs. I was in charge of QC.
Mm.
Um, so it was like every sample had a QC issue. I don't know, like if you really like uh, mess around with the shoe, you're gonna find some flaws, right?
Right.
But then after that time, Cameron had all of his renderings pinned up on the walls.
Mm.
And so finally, after a month of doing all this other stuff, anytime Cameron came in, I was like, all right, man, let's just like sit down and sketch. Like, teach me everything you know.
Right.
But yeah, it was just he kind of taught me some of his methodology, and then from there it was just like practice, like rinse and repeat. You know?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen some of his sketches around when I was at Brooks. Um, and I would say I know one. We had we had like a legend at Brooks. His name was Todd Dean,
Yeah.
and he was at Brooks for 30 years, and that's
Wow.
all he ever did was just marker rendering. He was the one who would like he would take like the flats of the shell and he would like draw his like design on it. And
Yeah.
then when it become time for line art, he would like literally like fold the paper like into like the silhouette of the shoe, like and like draw lines and like scan it in and then
That's awesome.
like use that to make like his like digital line art for like color and stuff. Like he was just like Photoshop, it's not happening. Like and he would come in and like yeah like the app's not happening. Like, I'm
Yeah.
doing it this way and yeah that was actually like how I learned like blueprinting was Todd Dean sitting down with like literally like a
Really?
T-square and like curves like you know like the little I don't even know
Yeah.
what those are called like the
The French
curve
curve, I think,
yeah
is
like
the
a French curve like he's taken that and he's taken like he's literally drawing you know lines from the bottom view and he's like projecting them over to like cross section views and like
whoa, that's
drawing
intense.
yeah man it was like we had printed I mean you do this anyway I think even still with like blueprint engineers and stuff you sit down with your they print full size like massive
Yeah.
blueprints and then you sit down with them and you like circle all the stuff you want fixed like
Yeah.
or they'll circle it and be like hey this is like 2 millimeters too big and like you got to remove this and this and this but yeah I mean all by hand like he would do like tracing paper and like like correct my cross sections and like show me how to do it. And it was like, man, it was there's something I think that's missing pretty hard. Like,
Yeah.
and just because there's not a lot of like tenured footwear designers teaching the young guys, and so I think it like starts to get like there's no like, and I think I've said this before. Another one of the reasons why like I thought this podcast would be good is um like there's no like handbook of instructions. Like I'm like, well, now I've drawn this shoe, now what? You know, like there's no handbook of like how to get it to this view and like how to get it made and all this
Right.
stuff. And so um that's where like guys like Cameron, like I know he's hand drawn like some pretty intense Brooks shoes. Like the shoes that you look back at like to the early 2000s and you're like, how did anyone ever do this without digital? Like because it's just like it's just so many lines. There's so much going on with all those shoes. You're like it was just a style, but I don't know how they like got through it. I'm like just a simple mind and I try to like distill it, but like
Right.
yeah.
I don't know,
Um
man.
yeah.
I think like jumping into the markers is fun. Like obviously it's not super efficient like time wise with like everything like the speed you can like get with digital work. But I don't know. It's a different kind of beast. Like did you ever see those memes that were it was like the OG designers and it's like this like wolf that's like super jacked or something like that, like doing their like perspective drawings or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it was like Instagram designers now or something like that, and it's like a little puppy. I don't know, but it's
Yep.
the
I I just wonder like how true that is cuz like like I just don't know. Like I'm the more I have like I've been in when I was at Brooks, you know, I would see like the old like Tinker sketches of like Jordan 11s and 12s and you know all that
yeah,
stuff um and I feel like I have to say this, I'm not trying to provoke any Nike people. Like not provoking, okay? I'm not touching the Tinker lordship, but what I am trying to say is like I've had this conversation with like even Colin and a couple of my buddies back at Brooks like do you think like those guys could do what we do today? Like because the level of detail is like
yeah,
shot through the roof because we have
right,
computer assistants and we can like tune things down to like the half millimeter. And so it feels like if there's a space to occupy, you want to occupy it because you have the means to like occupy it. Like whereas like back then they're using their hands and like you look at like the foam posit sketches and you're like and like the lines aren't exactly right and you're like, well, like like in today's digital age, like we
yeah,
probably would have snugged those up a little bit like um anyway, like you realize that like traction is the way traction was back then because they're drawing it by hand and it's like man, like it's really it's a lot more difficult today to please a consumer like I think than and anyway what I'm trying to say is like I don't know like there is but there's also a level of timelessness that happened back then and it's like
yeah.
it's just it's a conundrum and I want to like find if I can get this podcast, anyone even care about it, get like some of these old guys on and be like, hey, let's do what's up, or like you know, do like a head to head, or like I don't know what the format is where we got to figure this thing out, but
Right.
it's in
I think that's a good question though.
yeah.
I think one person at least from my experience that's gone from like old school to new school as far as just like being a part of the like the game from like being in the Nike kitchen to now being is he design director at Rad? But
Um,
just give
something.
something of design.
Yeah.
Grand czar of design
Yep.
in Tom Barrand. Shout out to Tom. Tom also, I guess, after in my um, timeline of design jobs, Tom gave me a job while he was doing his consultancy in
Mm.
Kick Laboratory. And I would say like some of his like early stuff, like sometimes we would sit and go through like his vault in his house of just like crazy designs, and then to like see like stuff that he was continuing to do, and like some of like at that time um where I guess I'm not sure like what the current like makeup is at Rad, because I know you guys have a lot of, or well, you have more designers than just him, and like me helping with tech packs and some 3D stuff.
Right.
But um, yeah, I'm like, I felt like his ability to go from like the way stuff was originally done to like some of the like even Photoshop renderings that he was doing for like some of the early Rad stuff was just really rad. I feel like so.
Yeah.
There's one person there for you that's like gone from A to Z as far as the
That's true.
um,
And like he is my current boss. I'm like, I don't know what I say here. Like, but he is like, it is really cool. He's a excellent, like, I have not, kind of the boss I've been looking for a long time, I think, in the
yeah.
industry. Like, kind of like the mentor that I've been kind of like hoping, like, someone you can see yourself, like, you can see yourself in that person. Like, oh man, I would love to be doing this long enough that I could like be like that, you know, and be
Yeah.
um just so humble and caring and understand how everyone's just working really hard and then in the industry of footwear it's just hard. um but yeah, like it's so funny that you're saying that because like I really feel like I can almost like see the paper like in his like in his Photoshop.
Oh
Like you
yeah.
can almost like you're almost like sometimes he'll print something off and I'm like, man, it looks like he did that in pencil. Like it's
Oh
almost
cool.
like he's like using the pencil brush because it's like he just needs it. Like they all just like
Yeah.
anyway. I don't want to hate on the old school guys, but I this might maybe this will be what gets this podcast going because
Nice.
all these old guys coming at us. It feels like a generational. Um, but I do feel like I was here to like bridge that gap. Like I was doing pencil
Yeah.
and marker and all that stuff before. Like I was using like I broke down. I was just using a pen and a highlighter because I was just so tired of trying to like
Yeah.
get color, like switch between
Yeah.
different like Prisma colors or whatever. Um, dude, that's awesome.
Cool.
So Kick Lab, you were
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Um, I mean, this is all real deal. Like this is real education, man. That's real stuff. So then tell me, I guess, like landed, like where does that
Yeah.
come from? And then how do you get that? And then like how are you like you are your own boss. How are you like I feel like that's the dream position for everybody, but like, you know, is it? I don't know. Yeah, I just want to hear from you. Like this, it's just exciting to see you have that passion and then to see it like materialize in
Yeah.
this way is cool.
For sure. Um, Honestly, like for me, it was, and I say this, and maybe I'm gonna contradict myself like immediately, but it was never like the goal to be an entrepreneur, right, or start my
mm,
own business. I really wanted to just design shoes. You know, I wanted to be the guy that was just sitting in the back, like like crunching numbers, like smelling EVA, um, you know, like all the good stuff. Um, but and maybe it was like because I came from like a semi like business background where at least that's what I was like thinking about. And then my like one of my goals, like I just wanted to. There was this thing. I was a TA for a class at BYU called "Creating a Good Life Through Recreation," and it was it was like the raddest class. I mean, I actually loved like design school. I hated college up until that point.
Right.
It was like not. I'm like 0% a good test taker. Um, Timed tests, I think, are the stupidest things ever. But when I took that class, it was this like foursquare of things you're good at and things you love, and it's like things you're not good at and things you hate. And so the golden nugget is to find something that you love and that you're good at. And so I took that class and I was like, well, and that's where I was like, sales. I mean, I don't know that I want to do sales, but I mean, maybe I could be good at it. But I was like trying to find that thing that I loved, and maybe I could be good at it. So that was where I was hoping with footwear design. Um,
Hmm.
and so yeah, so then I learned how to design products, specifically footwear, and I was loving that. But I always had like the idea. It was like I wanted to go to design school so that I had like an actual skill, that I was leaving college with, that I could say like this is something I can do, um, like it's something tangible to offer a company. Um, but I always had the thought of like, okay, well, what if I did like want to start my own business? Footwear is like super expensive, really hard to get into. Um, so I knew like vulcanized footwear in one sense is like um, cheaper for like molds and construction. So I knew that could be like a potential route if someday there was an opportunity.
Right.
But this is so yeah, that was kind of like an early thought. I had read. Um, have you ever seen any of these like textbooks of like it's from um, Wade Motawi, but like shoe material design guide or like how shoes are made. Have you seen this?
I've never seen that.
No, this is I was just trying to find all the information I could on shoes, man.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
Shout out to Wade. Wade's a real one.
Do
Super
you
good dude.
do you know Wade?
We've talked twice.
What?
Yeah, but as I was like reading these books, it like talked about like pricing structure of different types of like footwear construction as well.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that like I think the vulcanized section only has $1 sign next to it versus like whatever
Yeah.
other stuff that have multiple dollar signs.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, for me, it was like kind of like my inspiration with design is I love the aesthetics. I love color. I think color is I love like just like playing with color. I don't know. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
But I love solving a problem. I think that's like like for me, like I get really jazzed as I'm like thinking about the consumer, what they're trying to accomplish, and how I can like solve a problem and then make it beautiful. So I probably do like a function follows form. Maybe it's like the opposite way, but
Yeah.
um, or form follows function.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
like an English person, but yeah, form follows function, right?
yeah. It's
I was
yeah.
yeah,
We get it.
correct my language there, but the anyways, for me, so I lived in Oregon for a little bit. I lived in Utah. I have family in California. Like traveled everywhere in between. I was always seeing just because like back to like the earlier comment of I just look at like people's feet.
Hmm.
Um, I was always seeing people wear just like Vans skate shoes, Converse, like Nike SB. Um, Not as much then, but now like the Samba again,
Mm-hmm.
being super popular. And I knew like, and I guess seeing people wear them outdoors, like hiking, like the climbing scene. You can go to the local like climbing crag or whatever, and everyone's got like Vans next to their climbing shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is like, um, something that people love, but this isn't what it was built for. And just like understanding construction. Um, so I just had kind of like the plaguing idea of what would it look like to build um, this like awesome outdoor vulcanized shoe that was super robust,
Right.
but like still hit like the vibe that people were going for. And I know it wasn't like the totally novel. There are other companies that like do something um, semi similar in the space, but I felt like even those people that were doing it, like it just wasn't being done um, well enough with enough attention. And so yeah, it was just like I had this idea um, when I was in college, in between design jobs. Well, I was at Browning, and I just like really wanted to be doing something in shoes. Like I felt like I wasn't like if you're not like going up, like you're going down, right?
Yep.
And so I quit the job there and I got a job at like just a local shoe retail store. Because I was like, maybe I could connect with like some salespeople and like get in with like Keen or one of these other companies that they have in the store.
Yep.
And so, anyways, I ended up working in the store, worked in the warehouse. Then they had like I say like corporate offices, but it's like a really small team. They just have 2 retail locations. But I ended up working there for a little bit, and then finally like designing some shoes for the owner of the store.
Right.
Just like some small stuff that he was working on. And so we created like a really good relationship. So later, then when I had the idea, his name's Bryce Anderson. I went to him and I was like, Bryce, like I've got this idea. I was living in Oregon at the time. I was back in Utah for um, visiting family or somebody's like a wedding or something like that. But it's like I've got this idea, vulcanized shoes for the outdoors. I was like explaining all these different variables, and he was like, "Okay, I think that's a really good idea." And then like he thought about it for a little bit. Then he like went on a hike with his kids or whatever, and they were all like wearing their Vans, like slipping around. And he was like, "Okay, this is like we got to do this." His stores are called Walking Comfort.
Yeah.
So for him, it was like I was like, "Here's this problem, here's the space," and he's like, "Okay, but we have to make the shoes really comfortable."
Yeah.
So that was like together. Then we took this idea. I started doing like I guess with my initial pitch, I had like um, printed out like a bunch of sketches. And so yeah, so I kind of pitched it to him, and then we met with 2 different like I don't know if like agents or liaisons, but like like people working in between factories
Yeah.
and companies, and we met with this group. His Bob Taylor, he's based out of Oregon. He's worked for Adidas and Reebok and Newton Running, lots of other brands.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he has one employee in Vietnam. His name's John, and he's worked at Nike, Columbia, Adidas.
Yep.
And it was like the 4 of us were on a Zoom call, and it was like, wow, this is like good synergy. Then we went through a sample process of like a year and a half and launched the brand, and it seemed like it was like just this like thing that we were messing around with, and then it became something real. So, so then we launched Landed Footwear, and we're moseying along today.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's amazing how fast something can become real.
Yeah.
like overnight sometimes it feels like. That's awesome. Wait, so how long was that process from
from initially like pitching the idea to Bryce,
yeah.
then we launched like 2 years and like a month later.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when do you get your first landed shoe like in your hands?
Yeah, first landed shoe in the hands. Let's see. Okay, so if we So we launched a year ago, so that was 2023.
Yeah.
Um, we met, so it was probably like 2021. Um, it was honestly, it was like, I think it was around like December, November of 2021. Got the first sample.
Yeah.
Um, my wife was like, "Dude, these are so ugly." They look
Yeah.
like bowling shoes at the start. I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, this is but like just like see past the proto goggles, you know."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'd say yeah, it was like late, like early winter of 21 was the first
Yeah.
samples.
Um, and not to keep probing on this, but like how, so you get that first proto, like, and I know like how that can go. Like, I mean, sometimes you get that first one and you're like, I don't even know if we should be doing this. Like,
Yeah.
so when do you get the one that like gets confidence? Like, what's the, like, how did you even get the confidence to move from that? Like, I get a comment from my wife like that, and I'm like, that could take me from like here to here. Like the
Oh yeah.
proto could take me from here to here. The comment could take me to the floor.
No, for sure. Yeah, it was like honestly. So at that time, I'm working for Tom.
Yeah.
I was doing like grad school at the same time at the University of Oregon, um, and trying to figure this out. And so many times, even like to my wife, I was like, "Why am I doing this? Like, why?" Like, and I'm like trying to like apply to actual full time jobs, you know.
Right.
Um, and but it was just like this like thing that I couldn't give up, you know. Um, and so yeah, first samples. I'm in like I have like a little garage office.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in here. It'd take too long to like fish through boxes. But
That's all good.
first samples. Well, so first samples actually didn't. The funny thing is, I'm a size 12. Bryce, my partner, is a size. Uh, he like ebbs between like 12 and a half and 13.
Yep.
And so they were building the first sample we got was a 9. Then
Yeah.
we're like, hey, like we want to sample in 12s. So I don't know that there's any other, or probably maybe not many at least, companies
Yeah.
that will get like actual like proto samples, not in a like a men's 9 or 10, but
Well,
um,
no, but if you sample large like size, you can just believe that the smaller sizes are going to look good. Like
yeah,
if you got your 12 honed in, like
right.
your your 9 and 10 are going to look pretty
That was
great.
what we were thinking.
Yeah.
So it was like Proto round 2 was like still kind of like iffy, and it was Proto round 3 where they came in, and it was still like we hadn't gotten to color yet, but like um that was when we opened our first like um mold too.
Yeah.
And so um the outsole was like still it wasn't the final mold that we opened, but we had tweaks from there. But it was like, wow, this is like a real thing that we did, you know, like it wasn't like something that we did for a company. And it was, yeah, proto round 3 when it was like, okay, this is like something, you know.
Nice. All right. And that gets you off, that gets landed off the ground.
Yeah,
It's like it's nice when you can see like the light at the end of the tunnel. Um yeah, cuz sometimes it can, I mean, starting from nowhere is just like you never know. Like just you never know.
yeah,
Man, that's so cool. And something that I've like kind of been thinking about is like drawing this thread through is like the level of like passion that comes from like footwear design. Like I want to say is it's a little different. Like like like
yeah,
hearing your story, it hits a little like home. Like you want to be by shoes so bad. Like you're around shoes like in, you know, even like were you were working at a shop like
yeah,
like it's just like as man, it's just so inspiring to me that that's how like it resonates in myself. But even sometimes like I don't even feel like I have the level of passion that some people have, like in this like industry. It's like when I hear like, and it's just been, I'm excited to hear more people's like as we keep going, but like, um, even hearing like Colin talking about Nike shoes, I'm like, dude, I don't care nearly as
Yeah.
much about this as you do. And then like you find it to be your passion, you're just like you're gonna like stay as close as you can, like,
Yeah.
even if it's in a retail like capacity, like you're around shoes, like that's pretty
I'm,
awesome.
I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. There were even like many like semi sleepless nights because I'm like a fairly good sleeper,
Yeah,
uh, but many semi sleepless nights, like late nights, like scrolling like job postings where I was like, why did I choose this? Like, why is this? And it's almost like maybe I didn't choose it. You know, it's like this bestowed upon me this like ugly like footwear passion.
right,
But it was like I wish I could have just like been like super satisfied, just like with a service job, you know, and like
right.
something that I didn't have to like just aim at like the 10, 15 companies that are developing shoes, you know,
Yeah,
is the, and I mean there's more than that, but and now we're building more, but
yeah,
um yeah, it's like this weird thing that was like no satisfaction until it happened. But
yeah. It's great that like for some reason it doesn't couple with like feet. It's like it's not about feet. It's about like the
it's the
cool
shoes.
little thing that like
Yeah.
that like covers your foot, and it makes you look better. Like it's just
Yep.
like that, and it performs a certain way, and it like, it's a style and it's self-expression. It has like all of this stuff. Like uh, it's just an emotional thing. Like it's just that's how it is. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
It's an emotional attachment for sure. Is
yeah,
the like, yeah. I think that's why I yeah, I don't know. I just love it. And so now I like, as we're trying to build Landed and I'm still got to pay the bills, and I'm doing other things shoe related.
right,
I love like I teach some classes at Salt Lake Community College, and one of which is a footwear design class, and it's just like I don't know. I love almost like a lot of more often than not, my students are like really like jazzed on apparel or something within apparel, and they're like taking this footwear class to as an elective or something. Like it sounds
right,
fun,
right,
and I love like infusing people with like the energy and joy of the recognition of the footwear attachment.
right.
And not everyone
Yeah,
has it, but
yeah. And I think that's fine. Like
yeah,
some people, it's kind of like me with like the rest of industrial design. Like yeah, I could have probably done it, but
yeah,
it's not nearly as it's not as interesting to me. Like some people are like some of my fellow students at ID went on to do like apps and stuff, and it's great. And one of them is actually pretty wealthy now, and it's like cool. And I'm like good for him.
yeah.
Yeah, like one of like I actually just was I'm reading this book right now. Not reading. I don't know if I read. I listen. Like if I'm
Listening's good.
gonna yeah, if I'm if I'm getting a book, it's an audiobook. And another thing you said like is like I don't know, I'll dig down on this with like maybe with Dan Shirley or something, but I'll ask him like if we get to it. But when you talked about like testing and like
I hate it.
sucking at tests and like time tests and all that stuff like in college, like I was right there. I was just like, what? Like this
Yeah,
doesn't matter. This is just silly. Like, and if I could just like get a B or a C and not fail this course, like that's all I need. I think I had like one D in college and it was furniture, and I just like did not care. Like
yeah,
I was just like, look, man, like I have to take this to graduate. Just don't fail me so I can get this credit. Like, and I did nothing. I didn't show up for the class. It was like self-guided, and I was like, I'm
nice.
never coming. Like that's just how it is. Like and I remember like doing the whole assignment, the whole like whatever, and like I literally like laser cut my furniture out of plywood and like screwed it together and just like presented it to him at the end of class. I was like, see ya, like
Boom.
I got furniture, it's here. Bye. Like he gave me a
That's
D and I
awesome.
was like, that's cool, man. Like that's like whatever you got to do, I'm on my way. So but no, I said that like um but no, so you were like talking about sales too, and like different jobs. And um what's funny is I have a brother-in-law that I talk to like occasionally, like probably once every other month, because I learned through my sister-in-law that he had become like, I mean, he had made like almost like a seven-figure salary. Like he was just bombing like sales numbers and stuff. And if you knew
Yeah.
him, like he's a really charismatic guy, and like it just suits him to be a salesman. And then he left sales and bought a third of a company in Utah, and like has plans to grow that business and then sell it. And then the levels don't stop. Like
Yeah.
he's just gonna like he told me he just wants to make stupid amounts of money. Like he wants to make money that he can just like be like, forget you, I'm out. Like I'm just like if I get in a car wreck, my bad. Like if I fender bender, like here's a dump of cash, just leave me alone. Like that kind of stuff. Like he's just like
Yeah.
anyway.
That's
And
that's the person to meet on the freeway.
yeah, right. Like you accidentally bump into him or he bumps you, and like he just gives you a wad of cash and walks off.
Yeah.
Um yeah, that's the guy you want to you want to be friends with that guy. But so I like kind of talk to him from time to time. And but I will say that like he grew discontent, like in sales. And like just hearing him say like this is not what I was meant for. And like yeah, I could have just made a ton of money over and over again and blah blah blah. But um no, like the thing I was reading this book, and it's actually Craig Manning. It's called The Fearless Mind. And
Nice.
essentially he has a chapter on like what leads to a midlife crisis.
Cool.
And it's like, and essentially it comes down to like if you like the spiritual side of our lives, right, is like you feel like you are meant to do something,
Yeah.
and you go to do that thing, like like that's what you're setting out to do it. And the midlife crisis comes in when you feel like you haven't done like everything you're supposed to be doing at a high enough level. You feel like you've left stuff on the table, and people end up going out and like buying a motorcycle and driving across country, or like doing something crazy. um but I think that's really cool, like because you said like landed just feels like it was in you, like, and you just couldn't let it go, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just like I don't know. I think that's the best thing. Like, and to just like you might ask yourself every once in a while, like, why am I doing this?
Yep.
But to me, it sounds like you're doing exactly the thing you should be doing. Like,
Yeah.
like nothing about it sounds wrong. Like, and then that passion comes in that you want to go and teach it to other people. I think that's awesome too. Um, but yeah, like there's nothing in your story that like sounds like yeah, why are you doing that? It sounds like that's like this is the path. This is like manifest. Like um I don't know if that's how you feel, but like that's just like just hearing it live, like it's like it sounds like you're listening to whatever it is. Like I believe it's spiritual. Maybe it's a bit of genetics, who knows? But whatever it
Yeah.
is, it's manifested this creativity that I think is like super cool. Um, and I will say also like what I'm learning and what I'm thinking as I get older is like we have the English language, like books aren't written, like you have to go write the book. Like you have timber and you have trees,
Mm.
but like houses aren't built. Like you have to go and like like harvest something and create it. Like you're given raw material, like, and it's just like up to you, like what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so inspiring, that like you've taken that, you've kind of made the leap. You've listened to whatever it is, and luckily have found someone who believes in you at the same time, which I think is also rare. Like
Honestly. Yeah, for sure.
100%. And you've created a landed, which I think is super awesome, man. I don't know anything.
Well,
I just feel like I ranted. I don't want to like.
no, that was good. I honestly like a lot of like the exact same. Like sometimes I'm like, why did I do this? Or like, are we even gonna make it? You know, or like all this stuff. Like this is like such a like tough industry, like so much money required, all this stuff, and then I'm like, well, I think we're just like it's gonna like not just work. You know, like there's a lot of a lot that goes down,
Right.
but like I think in the end, it's just like um we will make it, you know, and it's like, well, we're gonna do the work to make sure it happens and make the right partnerships and the right connections. But yeah, yeah, for me, um, and even if it like was a like destined to fail or something like that, like it's been a ride, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, but I 100% like working with someone that also sees the vision, puts in an equal amount of effort in a business partner. And Bryce is like so many times I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that I quit my design job at Browning to go work at this retail store.
Mm.
Um, because it was just like it wasn't what I was looking to get out of it, in the sense of like I wanted to meet sales reps and like trying to like the Brooks sales rep was really awesome. I was like, oh, they'd be so cool to work for, you know. But
Right. Right.
it was like, no, I ended up um, finding a friend and a business partner, and now we're working to make things happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, never seems like as you expect, but um, good things and all for sure.
Yeah. Um. Well. Is there anything else you want to say? Is there any? What's I guess. Do you have any sneak peeks, or what? Like where is Landed headed, or is there anything in that Landed sphere you want to plug?
Yeah, yeah, I want to plug it all. Landed footwear.
Yeah.
Um, this is like something that I think is fun about like entrepreneurship, especially like the world that we're in now. Like people want to know the story, you know, like people want to know the people behind the brand. Like I guess one reason why maybe I thought I would get into or was interested in like entrepreneurship is like I love the stories of like the businesses starting, you know, like there's I like I said, I hate testing, I hate reading. And like I was like, if my mom watches this, I bet my mom will watch this up to this point. And like I something that Tom and I talked about while I worked there, and like you said, like you'll ask Dan as well. Tom thought like the greatest designers are like on a spectrum of dyslexia or something like that, where you just like think differently.
Yeah.
And I like that's how I feel, like never diagnosed or anything like that.
Yeah.
That could be a whole nother podcast. But like I just feel like the school system like just made me feel dumb, and then I like found this actual route of like awesome stuff that I can excel in. But where were we going with that?
You said something about dyslexia, and then it got me thinking we should live test for
We
dyslexia
should.
on the podcast.
I've Google searched like adult like online dyslexia tests, and there were like questions like, "Do you hate reading?" I was like, "This is such a terrible test." It's like, yes, I hate reading, but um. Anyways, man, I can't remember where I was going
We
with
said
that.
something about Tom coming on and talking about that, and then
I had a, anyways,
yeah,
something about business. Who knows?
that's all
That's
good.
like, maybe it'll come back to me. But the things that we're working towards, um, with Landed, like that was like the initial idea, right? Was like
Yeah,
vulcanized shoes, like outdoor, whatever.
yeah,
Um, but I was getting back to like you can. I love businesses starting, so those are the only
Yeah,
books that I've read. Wow. Okay,
yeah,
there we
yeah.
go. I love One Tough Mother, Gert Boyle, the founding story of Colombia. This is like really good.
Nice.
Um, I think Let My People Go Surfing, Patagonia is really good. Obviously, Shoe Dog, Nike,
Yep.
Phil Knight is awesome, and then Vans. I think it's called Off the Wall, but it's about like Paul Van Doren, or I might be messing up his first name, but like
Yeah,
like all like the building stories I think are really cool.
yeah,
And now with like social media, like people want to like know the like founding stories of companies. And so for those of you who would like to support a company that's trying to build it, like we're just trying to do it right. Like we're um,
yeah,
if any customer ever has an issue, like we want to give them top notch experience, and we just we want to treat people well and give them product that they love. And if you don't love it, send it back. We'll like cover shipping. It's like
dang.
um, that easy. But we've like since launching, we've like this is like our guess of like how we want the shoe to perform and who we want it for and what we've tested it in. But then it's like someone gets a shoe and they're gonna decide like how they're gonna use it.
Yeah,
Um, and we've had all these like interesting like adjacent categories to our initial thought of like just like an everyday adventure shoe. Um, like the one wheel community, like shout out to one wheel people. Do you know what a one wheel is, Jake?
nope.
No?
Yeah,
Okay, Google it after.
yeah.
It's a skateboard with one wheel in the middle and it has a motor.
Oh,
And you
okay.
like
I
tilt
know.
forward, go faster, tilt back, slows down.
Yeah.
Um, like there's like we want to be the official like one wheeling shoe,
Oh, that's
like
sick.
there's no like stake to that claim. Um, and we've like people within the community have been loving the shoe, and even people at like the one wheel company, we've made some awesome connections. Um, but then there's also like the disc golf community.
Yeah,
There's like a lot of like toe drag and disc golf. So like the toe bumper on our shoe is like really good. And then like for me, I didn't know that disc golf was like, especially like in Utah or even like the Western United States, it's a lot
yeah,
of like mountains and hiking and everything. So they love like the tread and everything
yeah.
going on there, and then just like comfort built in. So shout out to the disc golf community. I think there's one shoe brand that's like dedicated to disc golf, and we'd
Yeah.
love to be like their competitor. Like we're like just have you read the like 4 Hour Work Week or
Uh-uh.
listened to it at least?
No.
Um, that's another good. It's like just interesting. Some of it's like way too extreme, but so that same author um has another book that I haven't read, but it has or listened to, but it has a quote that's like, for a company, find your like 1,000 like super fans and just like love on them. And so
Oh,
we're just finding our 1,000 super fans and loving on them and creating product that they love, and then that's just gonna like expand from there. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's I think that's a business I can get behind. That's that's a business
yeah,
model I can appreciate. That's pretty awesome. No, I
yeah.
didn't know any of those things. See, that's another thing where it's like, and also I want you to know, like this, as much as it is my show, it's your show. Like we can do this as long as you want. Like it's
Oh,
just gonna
yeah, we
roll.
can.
No, I'll let you. You can talk as long as you want, man. I can do this all
I'm just
night. I
having
love.
fun. I'm
Yeah,
just having fun.
yeah. Like I love. I don't want you to feel rushed. Is what I'm trying to say. We got time.
Yeah.
The no, but dude, this is another instance of like anyone out there who watches this, all 20 of you, whatever. Like if there's 20 more, if it's 40 next week and then it's 100 the week after that, whatever. I just like think that this is like such a good like indication of like Doug didn't intend on like reaching one wheelers. You know, like you
No, yeah, yeah,
didn't
definitely not.
intend on like reach like you saw climbers with vans, and then you're like, okay, like you see this connection of like, hey, this trail, there's this more rugged version of this that can exist, and
Yeah,
then you attack it, and it's like obviously like the product looks really good, like, and just having two people and a handful of partners make something like this is awesome. It goes to show that there is like an ecosystem of footwear that exists and all that stuff, but then you create it and like like it just like you put it into the world and then things happen. Like it's not
yeah,
um yeah, it's just a testament to like you. I think a lot of times we get in our own way. um and Brian and I talked about this on his episode. It's like there's all sorts of things that could stop you from doing something. There's like a million excuses for like why not to do something. And footwear, the first top of mind is money. Like it just costs a ton
yeah,
of cash. And so that's probably stopped some people from getting there. But like um I think it'd be much better, life would be better served if people like tried and failed than, if you just went to the grave with landed, like, and what good is that? Like it's just, again, I'm just, what I want to say is like it should be something that motivates people to like, not let time pass by and get out like of your own way and do the thing, like
yeah,
um and you'll be surprised. Like I think it's awesome. Like, yeah, make a disc golf, make it even more disc golf, like
right.
get it as niche as possible, like own that community as far as I'm concerned, like because I think the more you make it for that, it's going to start feeling like it's something else is going to happen, and then something else is going to happen. um and yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, man, now I need to buy one. I'm sad I don't even have a pair. Like, what am I doing? I need to
Dude,
like
just
jump
just
on.
hit me with your address after. I'll send you a pair.
Oh crap. Okay. Well,
And
that
anyone
easy enough.
anyone that's watched up to this point, if you find somewhere that you can DM me, I'll hit you with a great deal as well. But
Oh
Jake,
shoot.
Jake gets a pair.
Oh shoot. Okay. Um,
Holiday season, right? Yeah,
if
got
someone
it.
if
Feeling
someone makes it to
feeling
this
good.
point, like viewership, like it drops off. Like like we're getting some analytics now. Like
Nice.
and so it not many people make it this far, but there's been a
No,
couple. So hey,
this is for the real ones.
yeah. And I think the more we go, like I think people are going to be way interested in your story. And so I don't know if I'd be surprised if more than usual make it. Um, so be ready to pony up on the
I'm here on my word.
on some deals.
Sitting
Um,
in the landed satellite office in Saratoga Springs garage over here.
the satellite office. One day maybe this can be my my prophecy is the landed office. So you won't have a satellite. It'll be like the real thing, and you have employees and you have like designers that have come, which you know what? Now you like, I mean, there are going to be plenty of footwear designers coming out of those programs, Utah State, Utah. It's an
Yeah,
underserved, like so many people come out of those industry, like those universities wanting to design shoes. Like once landed picks up, I don't think you're going to have a hard time finding some talent to give you designs.
yeah.
So,
I'd love that.
I mean,
I'd love to build something that people were inspired in and wanted to be a part of. But
yeah. Um, no, anything else you're thinking? I mean, get it out.
uh, I don't think so. I think that I
Yeah.
mean there's a lot of cool stuff to come in the new year. We'll have some new colors, new materials. But
Sweet.
but the same old styles that you love. hopefully by end of 2024 we'll have um, a new style, and then 25 hopefully a couple things running through.
Sweet.
So wait, I got my years off.
Wait,
End of
26?
26. Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
yeah,
man,
there
if
we
you
go.
have a new style by the end of this year, that's
No, we got a new upper. Yeah, by the end of this year, next month.
yeah,
Um, no, yeah, end of 25, we will hopefully have um a new style. Early 25, we'll have new colors, and then
that's awesome.
26, hopefully some more stuff. So
Sweet. Um, I know Doug and I, the viewership, whatever, we've talked a couple times about starting some um, coursework. Uh, that's a
yeah,
little farther out, but I don't know. It could, you never know. It could be easier than I think, but we're starting to figure out like how to teach footwear. I think that is pretty exciting as well.
yep,
Um, and so we're going to continue that conversation. A little preview for people. If you've made it this far, again, you get to hear the good stuff. Yeah, and yeah, we got plans, and I think I feel like with this, even landed like those types of things are it's the stuff like this that flips the industry and builds like the future, like what the future could look like. When we think about like how footwear design has been up to this point and how hard it has been to find like I mean even Doug and I like fell like kind of butt backwards into like being
yeah,
taught footwear. It's like
right,
you have to like it's just I feel like it shouldn't be this hard. And
100%.
so it's something we're talking about and noodling on, and I think it sounds like a pretty awesome idea to like get into that space and kind of fix some stuff. Like I always thought I would like want to go back to BYU and like take over for some of the professors, but I think much like the story of Landed, why not just build it yourself? Like
That's
like yeah, right? Like screw that. Like
hundred
uh
percent.
yeah, like go into the I don't know. I feel like fixing an established thing is harder than starting from scratch, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd say a lot of exciting stuff to add there. There's like just the level of difficulty to get like to or even like the ambiguity and like knowing like what you should know as like an associate footwear designer.
Yeah.
Like or like what your tech pack should look like, or what skills you should have going into an interview, especially even like between companies. Like
Right. Right.
so if you're trying to get into footwear design, continue watching this podcast and listening to the community, because there's big stuff coming. There's great ways, like you said, like butt into the industry to find the information, but there's not like a true like hub of um,
Yeah.
knowledge and
But
making
you're
it
right.
accessible. Yeah,
You're right. Like I think anyone applying to an associate or a footwear one, even the people who have come to me have just been like, I don't even think they know if their portfolio is on par. Like I think that's
yeah,
even part of it is like, um, like how do people who haven't been in the industry know what a tech pack looks like? How do the people who aren't in the industry know what my sketches should look like? To even be taken seriously, like,
or even like switching companies. Like
yeah,
I know, like I've felt it, and I know others have like switching companies. Like, do I like is like what I've done transferable? Like do I have the basics covered?
yeah,
Uh, so
yeah. So I think all that is like just good, and obviously, like we don't know how to like get it accredited, but I don't know if that's the point. The point is like, it's
yeah,
like trying to help this industry progress a little bit in like finding talent and creating talent and knowing the bars, like that everyone needs to know. I mean, like I feel like there's this like untalked about like level that like you want almost anyone to be at, and like people inside know what they're looking for. Like I know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm looking for if I'm, putting an associate job out there or a D1 or a D2 or a senior role. Like we know 100% what that looks like.
Yeah.
And anyone trying to like pose as that is just like, just almost destroyed. like throw it
Yeah.
out.
Well, and you talked about your like process of like applying to BYU and then having to like apply again or something like there. And when I uh, applied to the program at Utah State, it was like none of the professors could give us like a great critique on our portfolio because they were like making the decisions on who would be in, so they didn't want to be like
Oh my
helping
gosh.
someone in a different way that they weren't helping someone else. So
Sheesh.
even like that aspect of like this is where your work should be. Like this is where your portfolio should look like. Like it shouldn't be this like question of uh I don't know. Like there should be a people should be able to know the standard and like know what they need to learn and
Yeah.
how they need to present themselves to show that they have the skills.
Yeah. Um, exactly. Cause, it's like setting people up for failure sometimes. And it's just like, try to avoid that. Yeah. So that's something to look out for. I think, as we talk and strategize, conceptualize all that stuff, it'll be pretty great.
Yeah,
So more to come. I don't know. That's it feels like a good place to call it, unless
I'd say
I don't
so.
know. I think that's great. Um, well, I've learned a lot. This is awesome. I definitely feel inspired even at 9:50 at night. I'm feeling pretty good. I need to take some notes on this and listen back to it, and yeah, each one just like builds on the next. So anyway, like and subscribe. Tech packs are due. Doug, um, obviously this is awesome. Thanks for coming on, sharing who you are and what you've done. Again, it's all great. Everyone has their own like way, and it's again, it's all inspiring. It's just awesome. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jake. You're
Yeah.
you're crushing it.
I don't know about that.
What you may feel like is a small audience will become large and mighty.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like just like people that are like if you're consistent, I mean the people are there. Like the yeah. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
this is really cool. So
Sweet.
go Tech Packs are due.
Let's go.
I love it.
Well, all right. This will come out next Monday, and everyone will get to hear your story. Um, enjoy your holiday, all that good stuff, and we will be back. I think I'm going to be trying to talk about more designs, do some more design breakdowns, and then we'll jump into more guests. I got just down the line. There's a lot of stuff. But yeah, come back again, like, subscribe, tell people. Tech packs are due. All right. See you next time.